Good evening. I think we may start. These conversations with the mother were held over a long span of time, about 15 to 20 years. In the course of these conversations, the mother sometimes narrated a few incidents of her life. Today, we share some of these recollections on her love for fairy tales coming out of her body, occultism, etc. The mother spoke in French, and though a translation can never capture the charm of the original, her words carry something of her presence. We begin with a prayer. Seigneur suprême, que ta volonté soit faite en toutes choses et à tout moment. In English, Supreme Lord, grant that thy will may be done in all things and at every moment. These are some of the anecdotes. The mother was speaking about films, how films have an effect on young minds and the need to choose the right kind of films for the children. You know, when I was young, very small, about 5 or 6 years old, I was capable of guiding myself. I knew what was pleasing and good for me and what was not. When I was a child, I loved these fairy tales very much. I passed hours reading these tales. Truly, I enjoyed them. But only the fairy tales full of sweetness, of harmony, with pleasing and beautiful events, nice things, and which showed the good side of life, but never the tales which described the bad, the pain, the bad qualities or the characters that degenerate. All that I never read. I had a spontaneous horror for these tales. I did not like these bizarre and petty tales. But the beautiful stories, I had a great liking for them. And I remember that in my imagination, I would enter into the skies, the clouds, the heavens, and all that was beautiful in the tales, the wonders, the palaces, and the peaceful and joyous places. All that pleased me very much. And I entered these places in my imagination. I did all this by myself at the age of 4 or 5 or 6. I knew how to choose the good and leave out the bad. Next, the mother describes a few occasions when she came out of her body. You know, the first time I came out of my body, it was in a train. I think it was one of the first times. Well, it was probably one of the first times. It happened like this. I was traveling in a fast train towards Marseille. And this train was fast. And as I had the whole night to travel, I looked for a place in the compartment to sleep or to stretch myself. Then I lay down and I fell asleep. Then I came out of my body after some time, and I began to wander in the train, in the corridors, in the long compartment, where I saw people who were sleeping, each one in his own way. They slept soundly, and I saw these people. I passed from one to the other, and I was floating here and there. It was so amusing to see these people who were sleeping peacefully. I did not disturb them, but I saw them as clearly as one would see them with the physical eyes. I tell you, it was as concrete as seeing them physically. Then I roamed a little more, and when I returned, I saw that my body was rigid and immobile. The first impression I had was the body I had left behind had no life. It was immobile as that. I looked at it from above, as if it was a clothing that I have discarded in order to take up another. Moreover, the experience was so concrete and living that there was no doubt that it was by far the best way to see things. Then, when I returned into this rigid body, I remembered one after another what had happened and how I came out of this body and began to move from one compartment to another to see the spectacle that was unfolding. In this fast train, while they were sleeping at night, and early in the morning, when I woke up, I went round to see the compartments in order to verify whether my experience was real. And what did I see? It was the same spectacle that I had seen at night. I found each one in his place as I had seen them last night. They were nearly in the same position. I could recognize them very well, for it was still vivid in my memory. And it was exactly what I was witnessing now, physically as concrete as this. This experience reinforced my conviction that there was a more true way of seeing than these with physical eyes. I had another similar experience in Paris when I fainted on the road. It was during that period. I forget in which year it was, but it happened like this. I had a heavy dinner in the evening, and then I went to see a film. After the film, I came out with all that crowd which was still coming out, and I found myself in the middle of all these people. Suddenly, I felt something strange. I felt giddy, and I was feeling very uneasy. And I do not know how. Plop, I fainted, falling on the road. I do not remember anymore what happened to me. Of course, there was someone with me who was trying to take care of me. A minute later, I saw that my body was lying on the road, and there was a crowd looking at this body that had fainted. And I asked myself, what is this? What has happened to me? Why am I like this, lying on the road? It was embarrassing, lying there on the road. So I hurried to enter into the body that had fainted. And as soon as I entered it, the body stood up with a start, as if nothing had happened. I think I had had an indigestion because I had truly eaten a very rich meal. But the most important thing is that even when I was not in the physical body, still there was another consciousness which saw and directed me. Otherwise, it could not have lifted up a body that had fainted. And I tell you, it is not only with this physical body that one sees, but there are other and better means to see and feel than this physical body. But to learn all this, I did not practice yoga or do some special exercises. It came to me like this, like some events in life. Naturally, Mother. Why naturally? Because from where you are coming, from high above, the Supreme, that is why all this is natural for you. But for us, it is not like this. A lot of effort is needed. You forget that, Mother. Mother laughs. As I was telling you, in order to feel or see better, one does not need this body or these eyes. This body has no importance at all. It is like clothes that one changes. As soon as one completes the experience with this body, one takes up another one to have other experiences. It is the same thing when one throws off in order to take up another. When this is worn out, you will throw away this shirt, no, won't you? Likewise with the body. This serves nothing. It has no importance. No, Mother, it is not true. How is it not true, Mother says? It is evident, Mother, one cannot compare your body with a piece of cloth. The body has a very great importance in life. And your body particularly is something else. It is completely different. It is a divinized body. One cannot compare it with ours. How, my child? When I touch your gown, I do not feel any vibration from it. On the contrary, when I touch your body, I perceive a vibration. Mother laughs. Yes, my child. There's a lot of difference between this, the gown, and the body. You cannot compare these two, Mother. And even now, you told me that you were doing the yoga in the physical, in the body, for the transformation, and that you were working on the cells. Yes, my child, but it is a difficult and terribly slow process. Taking up cell after cell, it takes a lot of time. After such a long time, I have managed to do only half the work. It is very slow and it takes an enormous amount of time. So, once I went to Sri Aurobindo to know how long one has to wait, and I asked how much time it takes to change this into that. And Sri Aurobindo replied to me, it takes about 300 years for the physical transformation. 300 years, it is long for a lifetime. However, I am not disheartened. One does what one can and as best as possible. That's all. Now, I do not come out of my body, and I take this time to do what is possible. I work, but this, holding the skein, to change into that, that is difficult. The exterior does not change so fast, but it makes no difference, because inside it is charged with consciousness. One cannot imagine how much I am charged with consciousness and force. It vibrates with strength, and now I am very sensitive, very, very conscious. This is what I have done. But I tell you, it is full, and I feel myself vibrating with consciousness. I work, and we shall do something. It is all left to the Lord, and I have given myself to Him. Next time, when I went to the mother, the talk on coming out of the body continued. Bonjour, bonjour doucement. What is it? Mother, last time you had told me that you do not come out of your body. But why, Mother? I do not come out because it is no longer necessary. But Mother, does it mean that you do not come out at night to visit people as you used to do before? That I was doing at least half a century ago. But now I do not do it any longer. I have stopped it long back. That does not mean that I do not see people. On the contrary, I do all that now and much better than before, remaining here, that is in the body. Do you think that I am limited only to this body? No, I am everywhere, and in every moment I know all that is happening in the world, because I am directing them myself. It is true that I do not come out of the body now, because it is no longer necessary now. It was only a phase in sadhana, and I have left it behind. Now it is completely different. Even if I try to come out of body now, I think I will not be able to, because I have so many other things to do that it would be impossible for me to come out of the body. It's in fact a stage of experience that I have accomplished long time back. I think it was in 1904 or 5 till 1914, yes, before the war. And it was in France that I used to come out of the body. It came to me naturally, and I practiced it. I think for these 10 years, I mastered it. I could come out of the body at any place and at any time. I remember very well, in those days when I fell ill, and that I would rest on the bed and stretch myself comfortably on the divan, and then I would come out of the body. I would float above the sick body and see from above and drive away the sickness from this physical body. Because being above the body, I could see where the pain was. Then I would put the force there for curing it. And like that, I would be cured very fast. Usually it is done like that. But now I do it in a different way. And I do not need to go out of the body, you understand. You know, a long time ago, when I used to practice occultism and all that, I used to note down everything in a small pocket book. The conversations I used to have during the meditation, the voices that I used to hear, and the occult experiences I had. I used to note them down in this little pocket book. And when I came here, I kept it carefully in my drawer. In it, there were extraordinary signs, the occult experiences that I had. There were things that I had written at that time which have now become realized prophecies, and exactly what had been written, word for word. But I do not claim to have announced that I have made prophecies. In the occult planes, it's quite natural to foresee the results that will follow. And it happened exactly as it was written. That is all. There were also the characteristic signs of the elements that constitute the universe, and with these signs, I could enter into relation with these elements and control them as I wished. These elements, like air, earth, water, fire, and then, I forget the fifth. Mother, ether. Yes, ether. But you know all this well. All these elements were under my control. Or else, all this worked out as I ordered, naturally, with these occult signs. You remember once we had stopped the rain, there was a torrential rain that could not stop. And you had something very important to do in the playground. You remember where I had to come and witness? Yes, Mother. And then we prayed, and immediately the rain stopped. It was just a miracle. Another time, we had drawn on the ground a sign that I had shown to call down the rain. Like this, we can do many things with these signs. In this notebook, I had also written about the 6 creations or pralayas which are over, and something on this new creation, the 7th. There were many other things in it. There was something very, very important. It was a mantra which could resuscitate the dead. But I don't find the pocket book. It is lost. But Mother, you cannot find it? You know well where it has gone. Why don't you try to find it? It is a great loss then. Do you know how it happened? It is very interesting how I got this mantra. It happened here. I was doing my yoga, and one day with Sri Aurobindo, I entered an occult plane by a secret door. Just the two of us. There we saw that one could resuscitate the dead with the help of a mantra. We repeated the mantra together, and then this great secret was with us. And Sri Aurobindo copied it for me in Sanskrit. Together we practiced a lot of occultism, and we found many beautiful secrets of the world. It was in that pocket book. Naturally, if an ordinary person repeats it, it will have no effect on the dead. It must be a person who has power. It is only he who can command. If Sri Aurobindo repeats it, immediately the dead takes on a new life. But not if any person repeats it. It will have no effect. It will be a zero for him. That is why I am not worried about the pocket book which is lost, because no one can take advantage of what is written in it. even if it falls into evil hands. There is nothing to fear because it is something outside his capacity. One must have this power to put into practice all that is written in it. And there are very important things in it, secrets that have been revealed to me. There is no one who can put it into practice. All the same, I need that notebook sometimes to refer to something which I knew was in that notebook. But I did not find it. Unfortunately, it is gone. I tried looking for it, but I did not find it anywhere. Then I gave up all hope, saying that it is gone forever. And I am sure it is not stolen by a human being, but a vital being has hidden it. Of that I am convinced, that a vital being has stolen it, so that with all these secrets, I do not disturb their authority and their control over these elements and kingdoms. Anyway, perhaps it is not needed now. That is why it is gone. It is not needed anymore. If it is necessary, we will have it. It does not matter. I do not regret it. And then one can have much more by spiritual means which are pure and straight. In 1972, while explaining the power of OM, she recounted an incident which had taken place in France some 60 years ago. Look here, my child. I was in France I think 60 years ago. There was a Frenchman who came back from the Himalayas, who had stayed there some time, and he gave a lecture. And I listened to the lecture. And in the lecture he said that when he was deep in the Himalayas, there was a sannyasin whom he didn't know, came to see him and told him only this, "Oh," and that he was completely changed. And then when he said Om, I felt the same change in me, as if the divine was coming in. Om, Om. Voila, good. Keep the secret. He will recall this Om, that's all. Om, it must be manifested. If anything goes wrong, it was during our harvesting time. Repeat Om, and all will go well. He even says all the aspirations of the world going towards the divine makes Om. And the way she was chanting is unbelievable.